Once upon a time that I in the bustling city of Lekin, where yellow buses honked endlessly and skyscrapers kissed the clouds, lived a young woman named Amara Okoro. She was 23, bright-eyed, and full of dreams. Amara had come to the city from her small hometown in search of a better life, to build something meaningful, to make her late mother proud. Her job at a small fashion boutique barely paid enough to cover rent, but she carried a smile that could light up a dull room. Everyone loved her warmth. Everyone except destiny, life's unpredictable wind that often changed direction when least expected. It was during one of those long work days that she met Kenichukwu, a charming young man who walked into her shop one afternoon, looking for a suit. His confidence was magnetic. He spoke with a soft calmness that made Amara's heart tremble in ways she didn't understand. He was a marketing executive at a tech company, and he carried himself like a man who knew what he wanted. Their first conversation lasted 2 hours. Their first dinner, 5. Within months, they were inseparable. Love came easy. Keen was everything she thought she needed, ambitious, focused, and romantic. He spoke of their future like it was already written. One day, I'll build a company of my own, he'd tell her. And you'll be by my side as my queen. Amara believed him. Every word. Every promise. She gave him everything. Her heart, her loyalty, and eventually, her body. But love stories, as beautiful as they begin, sometimes hide the storms waiting behind the calm. 6 months later, Amara noticed the change first. The late-night calls that ended quickly. The weekends too busy with work. The shift in tone, from warmth to indifference. At first, she blamed herself. Maybe she talked too much. Maybe she wasn't ambitious enough. Maybe she wasn't enough. Then came the day she found out she was pregnant. Her hands trembled as she held the test result, tears blurring her vision. She didn't know whether to smile or cry. But one thing she knew, she had to tell Keen. When she told him that evening, sitting in his small apartment, filled with the scent of cologne and betrayal, his reaction wasn't what she expected. He froze, staring at her like she had just spoken a language he didn't understand. "You're what?" he asked coldly. "I'm pregnant, Keen. We're having a baby." Instead of joy, fear flickered across his face. He stood up, rubbing his forehead. "Amara, this isn't the right time. I just got a promotion. Things are complicated." "Complicated?" she whispered. "It's our child." But his silence said more than his words ever could. 2 weeks later, Keen was gone. No calls. No messages. No trace. He left her, pregnant, heartbroken, and alone. Amara's world collapsed. The walls of her tiny apartment seemed to close in on her. She cried until her tears ran dry. People whispered. Her neighbors judged. Even her boss at the boutique started treating her differently. She was now that girl, the one abandoned with a belly and no ring. But pain has a strange way of transforming those who endure it. Amara's sorrow began to harden into strength. She gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, Chitara, which meant God has written my story. She held him the night he was born and whispered through tears, "Your father may have left, but I will never leave you." Life didn't get easier. There were days she couldn't afford baby food, nights she skipped meals so Chitara could eat. She worked odd jobs, laundry, sewing, selling snacks, anything that kept them alive. But every struggle built her resilience. Every setback sharpened her will. She made a promise to herself that night, one she never broke. "One day, the world will know my name. And when he sees me again, I won't be the woman he left behind." Years rolled by like pages of a story written in fire and rain. Amara's small tailoring side hustle began to grow. Her creativity was unmatched. She could turn a plain fabric into a masterpiece. Her designs carried stories, emotions, identity. People began to notice. A customer referred her to a friend who worked with a fashion influencer. That influencer wore one of Amara's dresses to a high-profile event, and everything changed overnight. Suddenly, orders flooded in. Her small room became a mini studio. She recruited 2 girls from her neighborhood to help. Then she registered a name for her business, Chitara Couture. She chose that name because her son was her reason, her strength, her miracle. With discipline, sleepless nights, and divine favor, Amara's brand exploded into national fame. Celebrities began to wear her designs. Magazines called her the new face of African elegance. By the time Chitara turned 10, his mother was a billionaire, founder of a global fashion empire with branches in London, New York, and Lagos. But even in her wealth, Amara never forgot where she came from. She built schools, funded single mothers, and sponsored orphanages. Her heart was gold, though a small part of it still carried an unhealed scar. She never saw Keen again, until one day she did. It was a Friday afternoon when her driver pulled up in front of the Grand Continental Hotel. Amara had a business meeting with a new tech firm that wanted to collaborate on a digital fashion platform. She entered the conference room, greeted the team, and froze. There he was, Kenechukwu, 10 years older. His hairline had receded, his once smooth confidence replaced by quiet desperation. When his eyes met hers, the world seemed to pause. He stood, trembling. Amara? She looked at him, calm and composed, her elegance intimidating in a perfectly tailored white suit. Yes, Mr. Kenechukwu, she said coolly. I believe we've met before. The room was thick with tension. The other executives exchanged glances, unaware of the storm brewing between them. The meeting went on, professional and precise. Amara spoke with authority. Keen's company needed funding. Hers had the power to grant it. The irony was poetic. At the end of the presentation, she said softly, "Thank you for your time. I'll review your proposal and get back to you." Her assistant gathered her files. As Amara turned to leave, Keen spoke hesitantly. "Amara, please, can we talk?" She paused, looked at him for a moment, then nodded. 5 minutes. They sat in the quiet hotel lounge. The years between them felt heavy, filled with words unsaid. Keen's voice trembled. I didn't know what I was doing back then. I was scared. I thought I wasn't ready to be a father. I made the worst mistake of my life. Amara looked at him, her eyes calm but unreadable. You didn't just make a mistake, Keen. You abandoned me when I needed you most. I know, he said, tears gathering in his eyes. And I've paid for it. Everything went downhill after I left you. My company collapsed. My marriage failed. I've lost everything. She studied him quietly. He was a shadow of the man who once left her to face the world alone. After a long pause, she said, "Do you know what kept me going all those years?" He looked up slowly. "My son," she said softly. "The one you never met. The one who carries your eyes." Keen froze. His lips parted in shock. "I have a son," he whispered. Amara nodded. "Chitara. He's 10 now. Smart, kind, and everything you never gave yourself a chance to know." Keen's tears spilled. Can I meet him?" She took a deep breath. "Not yet. You see, I raised him to know that forgiveness is strength, but also that actions have consequences." Keen bowed his head, silent. Then, Amara leaned forward, her voice low but gentle. "You don't need to beg me for forgiveness, Keen. Life already taught you what I could never have said." She stood to leave, but before she turned, she added softly, "Still, I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace." And with that, she walked away. Weeks passed. Amara approved the tech partnership, anonymously. She didn't do it for Keen. She did it because she believed in second chances. One afternoon, she took Chitara to the park. The boy was tall, with his father's smile and his mother's eyes. He turned to her and said, "Mom, when will I meet my dad?" Amara smiled faintly. "Soon, my love. But first, let him learn to forgive himself." That night, she sat by her window, watching the city lights twinkle like scattered stars. Her heart felt light for the first time in years. Life had come full circle, not in revenge, but in redemption. A month later, Keen received a letter. It was from Chitara Couture headquarters. "Mr. Kenechukwu, you are invited to the Foundation Gala as a special guest. Sincerely, Amara Okoro." He hesitated for days before attending. When he arrived, the sight before him humbled him deeply. Amara on stage, surrounded by dignitaries, sharing her story of resilience, hope, and forgiveness. When she finished, the crowd gave a standing ovation. Then, she spotted Keen in the audience and smiled. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said softly, "sometimes the people who break you are the same ones who remind you of your strength. Life has a way of turning pain into purpose." Later that night, as the crowd dispersed, Amara introduced Keen to Chitara. The boy looked up at him curiously. "Are you my dad?" Keen's voice broke. "Yes, son, I am. And I'm so sorry." The boy studied him for a moment, then smiled, a smile that carried his mother's grace. "It's okay. Mom said you got lost. I'm glad you found your way back." Tears rolled down Keen's face as Amara placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Welcome home," she said. The story of Amara and Keen became a quiet legend, whispered not as gossip, but as a reminder that love, even when broken, can heal. That forgiveness isn't weakness, it's power. And that sometimes, life takes us through fire not to destroy us, but to refine us. Amara built an empire not to prove anyone wrong, but to prove herself right. That strength isn't in revenge, but in rising above the pain. Keen, humbled by his past, rebuilt his life with integrity. He became a mentor to young men, teaching them never to run from responsibility. And little Chitara, the boy born of heartbreak, grew up surrounded by love, becoming the bridge that healed what once was shattered. Because in the end, this wasn't just a story about betrayal. It was a story about grace. About how sometimes, when the world leaves you behind, destiny quietly waits ahead, with open arms and a lesson written in gold. The people who leave you in your storm may never see the rainbow you become, but forgive them anyway. For in forgiveness, your soul finds peace, and your destiny finds clarity. I hope you liked the video. If so, comment what you learned, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more enchanting tale like this one. Thank you.